like peanut butter, where you can pull it and it doesn't sag.
Right. Right.
So
Hello, hello, Mr. David.
Okay, sorry, had to unmute there.
Yep.
Apologize, I don't have video because I don't have a camera on this computer. This is actually a gaming server, but my other computer keeps crashing during these reviews, so
No worries.
that's what we got.
Yeah, for sure.
Okie doke. Which window, whose monitor are you going to use for showing things so I know who to pin?
I believe it'll
so
be,
it's gonna be
Vinicius.
Vinicius. Yeah.
You should be able to spotlight mine.
Yep. I just need to know who. Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
It's him that's
I spotlighted it for everybody there.
Oh, thank you. That made it easy.
Yep. By the way, the recording, the meeting is already being recorded, so we can jump in whenever you'd like.
I'm ready to go when you are. Typically, I like to basically work from the bottom up. So start with the motor retention on the booster and work upwards from there. If that works for you, that'd be great. If you have a preference to do it another way, or you need to side things off along the way, that's fine.
Ready.
No, we don't really have a preference. We can start from that side. Let me just turn the camera
From the
on.
bottom, yeah.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Hello. Oh, flip it. Okay. Hi. So we're here. This is our app section. We have our motor retainment here. It hasn't been inserted. So what we're gonna do there is it's gonna be epoxy and the West System silica, like on the back, to kind of create a lip.
So you're doing internal fillets right now?
No, those are done. Yeah, we're just waiting
but
on
I
that.
mean, you were doing them. You were doing them. That's why you don't have the ring on,
Correct.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Correct.
So now we're moving on to the ring as well as the external fillets. In terms of that, 2 of the 3 rail buttons have been inserted.
Query.
And the
Query. Why 3 rail buttons?
Just for like extra stability in terms of like when it's coming off the rod, like having the 3 versus the 2, where in case there's like a big gust of wind or anything, and we're on that like final rail button, it just like helps. Yeah.
Okay.
It's to ensure that once it comes off the rod, there won't be no tilting, because for the final rail button, if there's a strong wind gust coming through, it could slightly tilt and divert the rocket at a certain degree off the rod. Whereas if it has a 3, it is more likely to shoot straight up.
Okay.
And this has already been that was the last competition design also contained the 3 rail buttons, and it's been proven to show fine results.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. I was just curious why you went with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Since you have the centering ring off, can you zoom in the camera in on the attachment to the rail button on the back side of it? Inside the tube there? Okay. So are all rail buttons can be attached like that?
Yeah, so
Correct.
we have
okay.
Oh, go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, so what we see here is a 1515 rail button.
Yep.
That screw is a 1/4 20. I believe it's like a 1/2 inch long. That's standard Apogee product. And what you see there is a 1/4 20 nylon nut, epoxied and surface prepped with Systems 2000 and the silica.
Okay, that should be plenty robust. There have been issues with rail buttons popping off during loading, and I'm making a special point of looking them over every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now the upper rail button, the top of the 3 will be mounted the same way?
Yeah, it will be.
Yep.
It hasn't been... Oh, go ahead.
Is that where your drogue will be located?
On this upper area. So we have a payload section here, which is why the last rail button hasn't been inserted, because it's going to go in with this payload coupler.
Oh, okay. So the drogue will sit above where that button attachment is.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so there's no chance of snagging. That's what
Yeah.
all I cared about. Okay, sounds good.
Yes. I'm trying to think. Okay, so I guess from there we'd
What,
be moving on to. Go ahead.
What's the material for your fins?
Fiberglass, G10 fiberglass.
Thickness?
Yeah. They're a 1/4 inch.
1/4 inch. Okay,
Okay,
looks
next.
good.
What's up, Russ?
Yeah, just not sure if you wanted more info on the fins. We can give you some more if you'd like.
That's enough. I mean, if it's commercial G10
Okay.
1/4 inch epoxied in, honestly, there's not more you need to do about that. That's gonna work just
All
fine.
right.
And that looks like commercial tubing as well.
Yes, sir.
So I have,
Yep.
yeah,
All
I mean,
cots.
that's fine. I don't need to take a good look over that either. Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay, cool. So I guess now moving into the eBay, we're gonna come over here. So we're right now putting on the black powder well, so some of them are missing. But here we
Yep.
go. We have basically like a little sandwich of fiberglass and the wood, and then it's balsa wood, and it's been epoxied here together. And then we have our U-bolt with the plate and the bolts in the back.
Nice.
For attachment for the parachute,
right.
And then as well as for the wiring into the e-matching for the black powder. And then we have all of our electronics here. We're using commercial electronics. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, right here at the left, we have our main GPS, a BRB900 with its transmitter and a 3.9 volt battery. Then to the right, we have the Telemega, which is our main flight computer with its screw switch and a 3.9 battery as well. Then we have our Stratologger, which is our backup flight computer, but main pyros. It has a 9 volt battery, and here are the screw switches for it. And then we're gonna have video transmission, and this is one of the batteries we'll be using. There's gonna be 3 batteries, but 2 of them, one's gonna be located, it's gonna be pointing down, so you can see the outside of the rocket when it launches, and then another one pointing outside.
Okay.
More info on those U-bolts.
Yeah.
Those U-bolts, 16 stainless steel, rated for Amanda. Was it 1,400 pounds?
On the AV Bay U-bolt, it's going to be 600 pounds.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm not. They look
Any more
plenty
questions on
robust
that?
enough. I'm not concerned about that.
Alright.
Can you show me how the batteries are going to be mounted on your sled? 'Cause that's
So
another issue that is commonly.
we
And let
have,
me just verify. So the batteries you're using for the Big Red B and for the Metro,
Mega.
are they Telemega? Are they the ones that come from the manufacturers?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
just need to verify that. Okay,
Yeah.
so back to the mountings.
Right.
Of the batteries.
So our avionics bay has these 4 bars. So we have these custom 3D printed sleds that have like slots essentially to put the bars through. So then they'd be sitting. The ones for full scale are currently being printed. These are the ones we used for our subscale launch. But essentially what would happen is through these bars, we're putting them through. My camera keeps moving. I'm sorry.
That's no, don't worry about it.
Yeah. So we would just have it here, and then it would be held in place for all the flight computers except for the BRB, which is also being mounted with a 3D printed mount, but that's going in the nose cone.
Okay. Can you show me like how the batteries have a compartment that into which they fit?
I don't know if maybe Santiago wants to talk more about it, but
Is Paul there?
Yes.
Okay.
So the batteries go like that. That was for subscale. For competition, they're gonna be closed with a lid and with press fit holes for screws.
So they'll be
there's no chance of
completely
them
they'll be completely trapped on all
Like
3
this one?
axes.
Yes, in case, and they can move
Yes,
it.
sir.
Okay. That's what I needed to know because like that's another common issue is improperly held batteries. They must be, you really need to have them confined in all 3 axes. Okay.
Yeah, so it would be more like this for.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yay. Okay. Trying to think, moving forward. Yeah, and then for the GPS.
For the eBay
what?
rods, for those eBay rods, again, those are 5/16. stainless steel, nice and robust. We've used this design in prior competitions, and we
Yeah.
haven't seen any issues.
Yeah, 4 of those, you shouldn't have any troubles whatsoever.
Yeah.
All righty.
Trying to think what else we've done. The eBay, then it would go into.
So let's look at the coupler and how the coupler slides into the booster.
Oh.
And
Can you guys hold
so
it?
it's separate. Are you doing traditional dual deployment where you have a separation booster at the av bay and then the nose cone pops off for the main?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just
Correct.
a dual deploy. Yeah.
All right.
And then this would go into here.
That goes into there. How then is the payload bay held to the coupler? Do you have
So-
screws or do you have rivets, or how do you keep it from separating coupler to payload section to the main section? Because I know your actual payload's further down.
Yeah. So we would be epoxying this outer wall, this sleeve, into it. And then it would also, I guess kind of have a point of attachment here with the rail button a little bit. But our like main source of attachment is going to be that epoxy like on the inside of this wall.
Is that where your shock cord attaches to the top of that? Where does your shock cord attach
for
to the booster?
so for the recovery aspect, right? Show the payload bulkhead for me, please. That bulkhead, and then place it on the sleeve. The other way around. Oh yeah, that's right. So just like this, how you see it, all of that will be epoxied into the red tube on the inside, and then we're missing there 4 holes. Those 4 holes were 4 5/16, and I believe the rods are like 13 inches long. And the payload will go through those rods, just like the eBay, and then they will be screwed on, and then 2 of those 5/16 rods will have 5/16 eye nuts, and then those eye nuts are rated for. Amanda, what are the ratings for the eye nuts? Or the bottom?
The aft eye nuts are going to be 840 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have 2 of them.
2 of them.
The snatch for the drogue is what, Amanda?
For the drogue, it's going to be 60 pounds.
So is that a Y harness that then goes? So one
Correct.
end each to that and one to the. Okay, that should be okay. Since you've got 2 of them, that should be okay. You can get some surprisingly high forces on deployment, but I think those 2 in that size should be all right. Okay, that's good on that end.
Safety?
Go ahead.
What happened?
Yeah, the safety factor is at least of 8.5. Counting thread failure or like shearing from epoxy, as well as like this is hand calculations and also static stresses structural analysis. At least 8.5 of safety factor.
Okay. I think they're robust enough. All right. Looks good. Okay, back up to the main parachute compartment and the top of the eBay.
So show the front end of the back.
Wait, where's the eBay coupler? We just had it. Oh.
It's in the aft.
Yeah. So we have
Connecting the
now-
eBay coupler. Go ahead.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. It has like a little lip here, so we can fit it, and then it's like very snug.
So it's keyed.
Yeah.
Yep. So how do you then, the main parachute compartment will not separate from the coupler, correct?
Correct.
And how are they held together?
Yeah, so let's remove that bulkhead. And show him the nuts on there.
We have these like T-nuts here with some balsa wood.
So you're going to screw it together.
So
Yeah, they're screwed here.
Okay.
Yeah.
machine 1032 machine screws here, and then the 440 shear pins on the bottom part.
Okie doke, that works. All right, let's go ahead. We'll look at your nose cone, upper piece, and then we'll go through the recovery gear itself. All right.
So this coupler here, that shoulder is 1 caliber of length
right.
outside, and then on the inside there's 3 inches of coupler epoxy to this nose cone.
Yep. Standard practice. And you have 3 shear pins,
then-
it looks like?
Yes.
440 size?
Yeah, 3 440 shear pins.
Okay.
Yep. And they're 3 inches from the bottom of the shoulder.
How heavy is your nose cone by itself?
Ooh, exactly.
We have a scale there.
Yeah,
We
let me
have
get
a,
give you exact. The bottom one, yeah.
Would you like it with the rod?
I
and
just
stuff like
wanted
that, or
approximate. I
the-
just wanted an approximation. It doesn't have to
Okay.
be super precise.
4.7 pounds.
Okay. So once you put a bulkhead, once you have the bulkhead in there for the shock attachment and the big red B and all, you're going to be over 5 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The inside is about 1.7 pounds. So the housing, the rods,
maybe
and that was
about 6.
taken into account for the open rocket and Raster simulations.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the point of that. 440 nylon. They're nylon, right? 440 nylon. Yeah. 440 nylon shear force is approximately 53 pounds on average.
Yeah.
So that with 3 of them, that gives you, call it 150 for a margin of error. That means a 6-pound nose cone sees 15 Gs. It's coming off.
We're seeing more closer to 9.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, here's what
Gs.
I'm saying, and this is just an opinion up to you to consider. One of the hardest things to predict, especially given varying weather conditions, is actual horizontal velocity when you are at apogee in this kind of an environment. You might consider adding a 4th shear pin. It won't boost the amount of black powder you need by too much, but it's going to give you a massive extra safety margin for not blowing your main at altitude. It's not a safety hazard. With the recovery space we have, you're just not going to drift somewhere and cause a problem. It's going to give you a long walk, though. Something to think about. Typically, when I run a nose cone in those weight ranges, I will run 440s. That's like I said, I'm okay with 3. It's just something to think about. Okay.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Sure. All right. I think that's looking quite good. Let's walk through the recovery gear.
All right. Do you want me to start from the bottom up?
That works.
Okay. So I'll start from the aft eye bolts, the 2 galvanized steel eye nuts that
Yep.
have a capacity of 840. So from there, it's going to be a quick link that has a rating of 1,400 pounds. It's going to be 316 stainless steel for the quick link. And then from there, it's going to be a tubular Kevlar for drogue that's going to be 45 feet. Directly to the drogue parachute, it's going to be 35.96 feet to the parachute. And that chute is a 4-footer. It has a drag coefficient of 2.2, spill hole diameter of 8.44.
Wait a minute, you're using a toroidal as a drogue?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. So what's your descent rate with? That's a pretty big drogue. What's your descent rate?
So it's going to slow down the rocket enough to get to 40.8 feet per second before main deploys.
Okay. Again, just more opinion stuff. Why so slow?
Really, it's just for safety of snatch forces. Like,
Okay.
well, not, yeah, so that
I mean-
main can deploy at a safe enough speed.
Okay, I would say more. It is very common practice for the drogue deployment to be in the 80 to 90 foot per second range. If you want to bring it down
We do have
faster.
smaller.
So
Yeah.
that
We
is
do have smaller
again,
parachutes.
that's not a safety issue. It's fine the way it is, but you are risking a longer walk. If you want to bring it faster, that is perfect. That like I said, 80 to 90 feet per second is quite reasonable, and a lot of us use that as a target. So that's again for your consideration. It's fine the way it is, but you're free to do that.
Got it.
Especially your
We have
recovery.
smaller parachutes.
Mm.
So, and if you don't, like I said, it's fine. It's not gonna. You just may walk a little bit more.
Okay.
On the bright
Right.
side, it'll be more visible on the way down.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the main section.
Okay. So for the main section, it's going to be that same quick link attached to the U-bolt that was mentioned earlier. That is going to be a 30-foot shock cord, also tubular, also Kevlar. Going to the chute, it's going to be 9.66 feet, and then divided to the 20.33 that goes to the eye bolt and the nose cone.
Okay.
That main parachute is going to be a 16-foot diameter, drag coefficient 0.97. The final descent speed for that would be 15 feet per second.
Okay.
And it's going to be wrapped in a 3x3 Nomex shoe protector. The drogue is going to be a Kevlar reinforced Nomex 2-foot diameter. You saw it there.
Yep. All right.
Mhm.
That looks good.
At the descent rate.
She said 15 feet per second. That's
Right.
plenty good.
We also have swivel links in the Nomexes. Those are going to be 3,500 pound rating.
Okay.
Also stainless steel 316.
That's a nice, robust recovery system. You shouldn't have any strength issues with it. Let's see, we've covered pretty much everything. What is the motor, by the way?
It's an M1845 from Aerotech.
Okay. And your all-up weight is?
Is Lucia here? She has that. Oh no, she just got disconnected. Let's see if we can add her back in.
Little form.
I'm back. It said loaded is 54 pounds.
Okay.
There you go.
And what's your simulated speed off the rail?
It's about 100 feet per second, exactly 100 feet per second.
Yeah, you're fine. Okay.
I believe our thrust to weight is like 7 point something. Like
Yeah.
7 point something to 1. So.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You won't have any wind restrictions. Some people have somewhat slower velocities, and we'll still let that fly. But then we're going to put them under. We might put a limit that you're not going to launch, say, over 15 knot wind, as opposed to the higher limit for somebody else. Okay, that all looks good. No, I don't see anything. I've got anything that would stop. You've got, like I said, you've got a few recommendations just on experience and that in terms of making your life easier. One other comment, since I know you don't have your av bay fully all wired up yet. Just try to keep that neat. Your av bay is always gonna get extra focus by the reviewing team in Midland, because that's one of our key areas where we see issues. So as long as your wiring is nice, neat, secure, and your batteries are secure, you'll be fine. You have quality flight control systems, so that should be fine. I don't really see anything else I would need to discuss. Do you have any questions?
Not that I can think of. Oh, I remember the last in 2023, we had some issues with our frequencies since we were near the Los Alamos and stuff like that. We'll be seeing anything of that nature out in the launch
We shouldn't.
area
There are
for this year?
no. We're basically out in oil field country, so you really shouldn't see the electronic interference you might get from having, say, proximity to white sands.
Yeah.
There's also
Okay.
going to be a much tighter frequency control protocol, so there should be less issues with interference and the like for coming up and getting to the pads.
Alrighty. How about the live stream? There's a new challenge where we do live streaming, and we are doing live streaming.
Mhm.
How do we connect, or like how do we beam our stuff to like the officials so that it can be like broadcasted?
Okay. That one I don't honestly know.
Okay.
You'd have to submit a question to the lead of that
Within
competition.
HeroX?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I believe that Logan is the one who ultimately adjudicates that. So
Okay.
that would
Logan.
be the place to go. Yeah. He can give you that answer of all the requirements and the like.
Santi, go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned that the frequencies are going to be planned and more tightly controlled this year. Does that mean that we need to file like a frequency plan with IREC?
So you should have filed what your frequencies are. What the control is gonna be over when you're allowed to turn things on and when you're in, for example, when you're released from the queue, what frequency are you on compared to everybody else? It's just, I think we've had issues with people stepping on each other's toes, and this way we're going to control that a little bit more rigidly in terms of when you go, when you're allowed to turn it on, when you go out there, and especially if you can jump frequencies, you might be asked to switch to another frequency.
Okay.
But that's going to be handled through flight readiness at the fielded queue. So they'll take care of you from there.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Anything else?
Not that I can think of. Anybody got any questions or concerns or?
Guys, questions? Nothing in the room? No?
For tents, how will that work? The last time we competed, we had to bring our own tents. But then the
Okay,
year
you weren't
after,
there
you guys had
last
like
year.
set up.
So
Correct.
you were okay. So things are a little different now. We supply full tenting for the student area. You will be assigned, as usual, a slot, and there will already be a tent up and installed. So all of the student pits have Ezra supplied tenting.
Perfect.
And
okay.
there that was it made life much better for everybody. The tents are more robust. You don't have to take time to put them up, et cetera. And that was a big change for last year. So you'll find that worked great. Now, given that we did see wind last year that damaged the tents, and we had to put a pause one morning while they were repaired. But the flip side of that is I think most tents that would have been supplied by teams would have been gone.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they're still, it's not a cure-all for the weather, None of us have figured out a way to beat Mother Nature completely,
Nope.
but
Right.
it is. I think you'll be happy with it. So
Yeah, for sure.
good for you.
Yeah,
Sure.
I believe when we went last time, there was like a dust storm or like a little like dust tornado
Oh
that passed by and
yeah,
it
in 20 in
took
20.
took all the stuff in
Oh yeah,
23.
the
Yeah, like
23
that
had the
was
dust storm that was in the afternoon, and it damaged the medical
yes,
net. Yeah, that was a
yeah,
fairly
that was
nasty.
crazy.
I don't know if any of you are from originally desert type areas. Those are known as dirt devils. They're
Yeah.
basically
Mm.
tiny tornadoes.
Yeah,
And
that
they're
was crazy.
yeah. Well, we got hit by a bunch of them. There was one last year that hit the hybrid pads and basically destroyed McGill's launch pad.
Well, like tipped them
So
over and everything.
what?
Like tipped over and everything.
It
like,
didn't tip it over.
gone?
It twisted it. I mean,
Mm.
it was not repairable.
Okay.
So that's just the nature of weather, unfortunately.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, you will have tents. You'll have a nice clean area, and I think you'll like the setup as compared to 2 years ago a lot better.
Okay.
Perfect. That's great. Yeah, that's stuff for us to carry in the van and stuff like that since we're from Florida.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a great thing.
It's also closer now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay.
All
I have
right.
no more questions.
Okay. Yeah. So what? You remember? All you need to do is you'll submit the video. There are
Do you
no.
do you know where?
Oh, but bugger. Not offhand, no.
Okay.
Uh,
I'll sure
it
I'll
should
find
be
it.
documented on the instructions somewhere, but you won't. Unlike the past review where you got a note, you're not going to get a note from me this time because there's nothing to fix.
Okay.
I'll just when I'm done with all of my video reviews, I will go through and then just check off everybody is complete and all that. So that should be anything more on that side you need to do other than submit your video.
Perfect. But we are good to go. Like we're good to like continue.
Yeah, you're ready to. I mean, you obviously you've got to finish your AvBays and the other print and the like, and finish your fillets and all that. But there are no things I see that you need to change what you have done or are planning to do.
Perfect. Okay.
So
Great.
your plan should be good just to show up for flight safety review. Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much, David.
All right. You're welcome.
Have a great day,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.